Hey, Max Living Faithful, welcome to part two of the Heart Health Masterclass. Wanted to start out by just appreciating each and every one of you that's watching this. I've been very impressed by the overall commitment, follow through, interest in being better. It's just the start of summer. There's plenty of things that we can justify as far as investing our time in, but the reality is we've actually had a significantly above average sign up for this event compared to some other things years past, which I think goes back to the point of, unfortunately, we are more affected by heart disease than any other condition in our current society. Highest death rate, the list goes on. Now, a couple of summary points from the first masterclass. First of all, the term epigenetics, EPI. Genetics is like a light switch. You can turn your genes on and off. Since the Human Genome Project almost 20 years ago, it is conclusively shown that heart disease isn't just in your family, it's in everyone's family. People express genes by lifestyle and environment. Some things you can control in your environment, some things you can't, but the things that you can control play a huge factor in your overall outcome. So we additionally talked about statistics on medication. So for instance, if somebody has a heart attack, on average, they're put on 5 medications, most of which they'll be on for the rest of their life. And just looking at, let's call it the statistics on taking medication, we're not here to say medication's right or wrong, but ultimately, if you statistically, if you take 3 medications, there's a 50-50 chance you'll have a side effect, a noteworthy side effect that will cause you to be on another medication. If you take 5 medications, it's a statistical guarantee that one of the medications you're on or the symptoms that you create that will create another medication for you to be on is from side effects of medication interaction. So ultimately, it is my strongly held opinion that less medication is better whenever possible, whenever you can get to the root cause. And so when you really look at value, it's not the cost of what you're doing, it's the cost it has on your body, whether you look at food, the price of drugs, subsidized things, whatever it might be. You are certainly better off to be healthy. You only get one body, and most of it's not replaceable. So from a longevity standpoint, and here's one statistic that I haven't shared in a while, not only does America rank dead last in nearly every main category as far as it comes to health for industrialized nations, but when you look at the averages or who you become, the thing that's probably the most sad is America finishes dead last in years of potential life lost, meaning that people are disabled, crippled, sick, dying, feel like crap earlier than any other country. In fact, there are estimates that show that people have an estimated 20 years of really crappy quality of life before they pass away. And you're just not built to be like that. So, it's kind of like you've probably heard those statistics, you become the people you hang around the most with. America is not a great place to compare yourself from a health standpoint. They say if your 5 closest friends are significantly overweight, odds are you'll be significantly overweight or make choices when you're with them that would lead to weight gain or staying overweight. If your 5 closest friends are fit, you tend to pull towards fitness. I mean, it's just, you tend to become who you hang out with. And so again, I would strongly encourage you to shift your perspective to how are you fueling your body? How are you burning calories? How are you keeping toxins out of it? How well aligned is your frame? Things like that. But going back to where we left off in this seminar, we talked about the benefits and downsides of cholesterol medication, high blood pressure medication treatments. Moving on to aspirin. So, it's been a while since this term has been said, but you hear people say sometimes, maybe you've heard follow the science. Great saying, not really a lot of science behind the comments frequently, but let's just go ahead and look at aspirin. Aspirin's a blood thinner, so it's considered very cheap to make. It's generally, depending on who you talk to, considered safe. But, it's been over a decade now that aspirin is not recommended for healthy people. Yet there's plenty of people that go see their doctor and their doctor doesn't follow the science and still recommends daily aspirin for prevention. Now, why would, look at your body. Why would your aspirin not be a net gain to thin your blood? Well, there's a couple of things to look at. First of all, your body does the right thing at the right time with the things involved. So if you're putting the right things in your body, you're already going to have the right thickness or thinness of blood. So for instance, omega-3s, if you have the right amount of omega-3s, if you eat fish, if you eat flax, if you eat different things that have good omega-3s, if you avoid the crappy vegetable oils that are damaged omega-6s, which thicken your blood, that alone likely thins your blood. You don't need a drug to do so. But if you artificially thin your blood, it would only make sense that your body doesn't want it that thin, and therefore tends to start thickening it, which causes not just a counterproductive thing, but causes you to need more of the medication to get the same result. Same thing happens in alcoholics. You might remember the first time you had your first beer or first glass of wine and you felt this strong, buzz or whatever you want to term for it. But over time, the more you consume, the more your body needs to get that same potential feeling. Well, drugs are the same way. The more you use them, the more your body builds up enzymes or things to break them down, and therefore you need more to get the same outcome. So if you start taking it when you don't need it, if you start taking it for prevention, you actually can be severely counterproductive. And as research shows, aspirin as a prevention is not recommended for most people. Now go on to the stronger blood thinners. Small dose of one thing, higher dose can kill you, like Coumadin, warfarin. I mean, you probably know, you've probably heard it referenced. These they're derived from rat poison. What's rat poison do? Well, if rats eat enough of this drug, it thins their blood so much that they bleed out and die. If you're on these stronger blood thinners, it's recommended you stay away from things that cause your body to clot or thicken the blood. So for instance, avoid green vegetables. Wouldn't it be just intuitive that a drug has to be toxic if you're supposed to avoid things that are universally known to bring health? And why does that happen? Well, you're drugging something that your body wants it to be different. And so you're actually avoiding things that allow your body to do its job, to therefore let the drug do its job. And you can imagine your innate intelligence, universal intelligence, God-given intelligence, whatever you want to use, is likely smarter than human intelligence in that situation. So again, you have to decide if you have this philosophy, but I would encourage you to think about, does your body do the right thing at the right time with the things given? We used examples in the first masterclass about your body encapsulating cancer with a tumor, or using arthritis to prevent you from fracturing your spine, or things like that. So that's just a little bit of a completion to the medications, their most common treatments. But let's talk more in depth about how smart your body is. So what is cholesterol? Cholesterol is designed for repair. Your neurology is universally known as the most important organ in your body. It's the only one fully encapsulated by bone. Roughly 70% of your brain and spinal cord is made up of cholesterol. There's a cholesterol outer coating in every cell in your body, or nearly every cell in your body. And what's it doing? It allows for transfer of nutrients in. It allows for toxicity to go out. They call it a lipid bilayer, but cholesterol is for repair. So why would you have high cholesterol? You have high cholesterol because your body's inflamed and repairing something in your body. Now that might be something you're unintentionally doing, like eating crappy food, or damaging a part of your body with like if you're diabetic or if you're eating too much sugar. You might have your cholesterol go up if you exercise, because you're breaking down muscles and burning fat, and so your body needs more cholesterol to repair. So for instance, athletes tend to have a little bit higher cholesterol. Now they tend to have good cholesterol, the more HDL and that sort of stuff, but there is a reality that cholesterol is for repair. As you get older, your body's aging, and so it's natural for you to make more cholesterol. There is no modification in this country for increased cholesterol numbers with age, even though there are in many other first world countries. So when you get diagnosed with high cholesterol, ask yourself this: is this truly high cholesterol, or is this a drug company coercing a doctor to put you on something that potentially causes more harm than good? One of the upsides of cholesterol medication is it is one that you can go off cold turkey. So should you feel like you don't want to be on it or you're having side effects, I mean, there are so many people that have permanent nerve damage, permanent muscle damage, permanent statin, what they call statin-induced pain, meaning that you're in chronic pain. It's linked to neurologic diseases, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, liver failure. I mean, the list goes on. And cholesterol, mostly 90% of your cholesterol is estimated to be made by your liver. So this whole concept of avoiding cholesterol in foods, or like eating egg white omelets to be healthy, is questionable at best. Lowering the amount of cholesterol you consume just means your liver is going to make more if you need it. Now, if you eat really crappy fats, or if you eat lots of sugar, of course your cholesterol is going to go up, because that's high inflammation and damaging to your body. So that's what cholesterol does. And cholesterol absolutely can be good for you. And even the bad cholesterol, the LDL, if you go back to this paleocardiologist book that I would so strongly encourage you to read, cholesterol, there's, depending on how you want to look at it, 4 to 5 different types of LDL. And a lot of that LDL, they're carriers, they're transporters. They move nutrients from one cell to another. So there is a type of LDL that's sticky, but your traditional medical doctor doesn't even test for it, but yet it is testable. So for Boston Heart, one of the labs that's around in our country and that we used to do through our integrative clinic, actually will break that down. The tough part is, let's just say intentionally or unintentionally, many insurances don't cover it. Now, if they were really trying to avoid heart disease and keep people on low amounts of medications, wouldn't it make sense that they would cover a test that breaks down the different types of LDL so you can actually see, are you a candidate? The other thing is, there is a genetic marker to see if you'll respond negatively to statins that they can run, but most doctors don't run it. Again, so some people are predisposed to not handle statin drugs well, and it turns out it can be tested for, and it's flat out not done. So if you haven't lost, with these last 2 years, I mean, if you haven't lost some faith in the traditional medical system in reporting numbers, research, I don't know what else to say, because this has been going on for 50 plus years, but it is more prevalent and more egregious than ever before, and there's more people being put on medications. And it just if 10 drugs led to longer life, there would be enough data to prove it at this point, but it just doesn't happen that way. So value yourself, value your health, look at the changes that you can make. Remember, it's all about the action steps that you're going to take. Now, high blood pressure, we're not going to spend as much time on this because we already covered a lot of it with the blood pressure medication topic. But remember, going back to that number needed to treat, the number needed to treat, if it takes 200 people taking a blood pressure pill to prevent one heart attack or stroke, I mean, think how all the side effects and drug interactions and damage to all the different parts of the body. Is it really worth it for most people? High blood pressure, some factors from the natural side. Remember, your heart's a muscle and your arteries are a muscle. So if you get pooling of blood in your legs, odds are your heart and your arteries aren't strong enough to pump it through. I talked about in the first masterclass about strengthening those, pumping fluid out of the body simply can happen from stronger pumping, so exercise, losing weight so you don't have as many blood vessels to pump through and lower your inflammation, or increasing the amount of healthy nutrients. So for instance, getting healthy doses of magnesium and calcium and different things that occur naturally in fruits and vegetables and healthy meats, those affect how strongly or how efficiently muscles pump or contract. And therefore, if you're deficient, you can often lose some of those things. So going back to, heart healthy nutrition, low carb is just flat out better. Avoiding carbohydrates, essentially universally accepted. I love when I hear somebody says I go vegetarian or whatever, but ultimately, what do you need? You need to avoid refined carbohydrates, sugars, breads, pastas, rices, Any of those things need to be avoided. It's that simple. You need to increase healthy fats. Those are good for your heart. They're like lining. They're like lining your body with fuel. So healthy fats, again, already been talked about. We're not going to belabor a point here today. Omega-3s thin your blood. So fish twice per week reduces your likelihood of coronary heart disease by 36%. And that statistic is even better if you eat wild-caught fish. So a couple other things to look at. I mentioned CoQ10. I'm going to re-mention it. If you take a statin drug, you absolutely need to be on CoQ10. If you want to lower your cholesterol slightly because it's too high but don't want to be on a medication, go on our website. We go on our website and order the red yeast rice CoQ10 combo because it's a safer, more natural way to do so. But if you're not as concerned with lowering your cholesterol with a supplement, again, you don't necessarily need the red yeast rice. Again, curcumin plus or our daily defense supplement are anti-inflammatory. If they're anti-inflammatory, they tend to, again, lower plaquing of the arteries. They can lower bad cholesterol. So going back to this, there's a cholesterol bundle. There's a high blood pressure bundle. These are things that are sold on the website. So if you want to do this more naturally, you can purchase some of these bundles online, and you essentially take those. Now, with high blood pressure medication, that is something you have to work off, ideally with the help of your doctor, but it's something that you basically taper. So you start skipping a day or going to a half dose 1 day a week, then 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, and you taper off it over the course of several months, typically, where cholesterol drugs, in most cases, you can just go off cold turkey. Now, exercise is more linked to lowering blood pressure than anything else. Why? Again, because your heart and your arteries are muscles. Cholesterol is also linked to increasing HDL. It's linked to more efficient blood flow. It's linked. So what type of exercise is best? Well, I certainly like all exercise. Exercise where you get out of breath is best. It's just that simple. Exercise where you get out of breath is best. There is a fairly low margin for this. So going back, and many of you have heard this number, but you want to get up into the, they call it the metabolic conditioning phase. So the way to check that is your pulse rate or your heart rate, 220 minus your age. And then you want to be over 80% of that number. So if you're 40 years old, 220 minus 40 is 180, times that by 80%. And whatever that number is, you want to be over that for at least 6 minutes total. They don't have to be all together. If you're running, for instance, it's healthier to run for 30 minutes than 130 minutes. I mean, it's so more intense, faster, builds muscle, causes less stress hormone response, and again, makes a bigger difference overall. Like I said, if you can see the slide, regular exercise is linked to the highest reduction overall in heart disease risk. So going for a walk is great, but even if you're going to walking fast, getting out of breath, getting tired makes a huge, huge, huge difference overall. Minimizing toxins. Now, I started with this, and I want to reference back to this. Toxicity is linked to heart disease. It's linked to increased cholesterol. It's linked to all sorts of damage, high blood pressure, damage to your kidneys, damage to your liver, all sorts. So where do you get toxins? You get them everywhere. You breathe them in. Odds are you can't control that. But for instance, household air is more toxic than outdoor air. So opening your windows can make a difference. Household products, look at, for instance, hormones like testosterone, which is linked to thyroid and linked to your heart. And they say there's one study that shows that a 20-year-old male's testosterone now is similar to a male 60 years old 40 years ago. Why is that? Well, all these things, side effects of things being cooked in plastic, styrofoam, stored in plastic, bottled water, the chemicals that are in drinking water. So for instance, getting a water filter can make a huge difference. Not putting high chemical products. So looking what's in your toothpaste, your deodorant, your laundry detergent, your shampoo, your soap. Now, the big ones, toxins in food, processed food has a massive, massive, massive amount of toxicity. Some that they don't even list on the label, but avoiding processed foods is simplistically linked to less heart disease, more weight loss. I mean, all sorts of, very positive, very positive things. Amalgam fillings, high mercury, your body leaches it. Cooking on nonstick cookware, getting shots. Most shots have high heavy metals. I talked about that in the first masterclass. But, we look at toxicity and people often don't understand the toxic load put on their body, but they throw off hormones. I mean, women's hormones specifically are so radically off, and yet women are the ones that put makeup on. They're the ones that put, a lot of this different stuff. The more chemicals put on your skin, the more chemicals breathed in, the more chemicals ingested, all sorts of side effects in your body. So cleaner eating, simplistic eating, great ideas would be to plant a garden, but toxins are linked to it. And there's so many toxins, it's almost hard to even be able to share all this with you because you got to look at not just the ones you think of. People know alcohol is bad for you, smoking is bad for you, but a lot of this other stuff, in plastics, it's just hard on your body. Now, let's talk about stress. I mentioned again in the beginning about heart attacks doubling the week after Christmas, but from a mindset standpoint, built in times to calm your mind, build in times to think and sort. So there is this thing that destroys mindsets. This thing is absolutely terrible in most cases for people's mindset. Screens in general, in most cases, terrible for people's mindset. So think about a few things. First of all, your mindset is most suggestive in 3 times: right away in the morning, anytime you exercise or get severely fatigued, and right before you fall asleep. So things like prayer, meditation, positive reading, reading the Bible, devotionals, all that stuff is linked to less heart disease because why? It lowers your overall stress level. Not getting on screens right away in the morning. Screens are stimulus to the brain to overexcite or overstimulate your brain. Screens at night before bed are linked to lower quality sleep. Lower quality sleep linked to heart issues. I mentioned again in the first masterclass the difference between 8 hours of sleep and 6 hours of sleep. This is a big part of it. Meditation in the middle of the day. The last masterclass we talked about slowing your brain waves, but I've used this example before, and I kind of like it just because a lot of people get stressed before big events. With many of you that are watching this, you come in and see us. It's a fairly, in the clinic, we strive for it to be a calm environment, and we hope you feel it's calm, but it's a very active environment. And so I've taken my blood pressure at the office versus taking it on a weekend or one time, right before I got married. I had it the day before I got married, and I was actually not necessarily worried, but I felt like I was in really good health. But my blood pressure was running a little over 130 over like 85, which was higher than it, had been when I was first in practice. And while that's not a reason to be on a medication necessarily, it's slightly over what the average or normal range is or was. And then I've taken it like on Sunday, or I've taken it, I had it taken by a nurse the day before I got married, and it was 25 points lower that day. Now, maybe it doesn't always run that low, but, taking time to be calm, slowing down and taking time to sit and eat and rest, just taking time to think, go to church, whatever calms you, do yard work with no sound. But taking some peaceful time to think and sort lowers your blood pressure. It lowers your heart rate. It calms your pulse rate. So sure, you should exercise, but things like sleep cost nothing. They take planning. Avoiding screens costs nothing. It takes planning. Those marketers are intentionally addictive to you. They are intentionally addictive to you. So remember that. Think about, do you get on your screen right when you get up? Do you get on your screen all the way till you go to bed? Like, where are you at with that? Do you take time to think and sort? All that stuff is linked to lower rates of heart disease. Now, word number 2. So if we're throwing this in the middle, word number 2 is the word work. Work. W-O-R-K. Word number 2. W-O-R-K. Work. Last main thing here, neurologic control. There are 2 studies that show that adjusting the upper neck on average lowered blood pressure by a combined 17 points. There are people who have taken their blood pressure pre and post adjustment in our clinic and watched it drop. Now here's the tough part. If you're in a regular chiropractic care and you're still high, what's that tell you? You still have other issues. However, imagine if you weren't getting adjusted. What does chiropractic do? I call it a tune-up maintenance. I mean, it's something that I've done for over 20 years now, and that I will continue to do for the absolute rest of my life, because it is protecting the vessel, the body. The biggest shift, in my opinion, that people need to make in general is looking at themselves with more value. You are more worth it than driving a nicer car. You're more worth it than a fancier house or a more expensive vacation. I mean, this body that you have, all the experiences that you'll get to have by protecting it, by preventing damage. Once somebody's lost their health, they'll spend thousands or millions of dollars to get it back. But often they have some level of permanence, or it's not going back. You can look at all those classic examples like Steve Jobs and different people who just destroyed their body and were taken much younger than they possibly should have. But chiropractic care is like a tune-up. It just protects your body. We have quite a few clients that feel that their AFib goes out way less when they get adjusted. Well, think about it. Your heart, not only is it a muscle, but it's an electrical system. It contracts thousands of times a day, and it contracts in such a manner that's synchronized. What if the electricity's off? What if the light's flickering? If the electricity's off, of course, it's not going to beat properly. And so there are, like I said, lots and lots of people that feel like their AFib is more controlled or they need less medication. Another aspect of this is the metabolics program. So, we've had people that have gone through the metabolics program and had their body tested and have gone on certain supplements like taurine and certain mineral things, and have changed their eating, and they've gotten off lots of medications. And so that's why, as I mentioned earlier, we've opened up the spot for 40 more complimentary appointments with Mackenzie, our nutritionist, where you'll fill out the life risk questionnaire, and she can sit down and go over options for how to help your heart health, for how to heal your body so that you potentially need less medication. But again, that's available complimentary to any active client 18 years old or older. So if you'd like to do that, you can direct message us, you can email us, or you can schedule that in the clinic. But a few other things chiropractic's linked to, it's linked to increased lung function, better autonomic functions, heart rate variability. If they're, all these, like, you see people wearing all these watches and stuff, like Whoop watch is very popular. There's quite a few different ones. When I talk to high-level athletes, what are they often most frequently looking at is their heart rate variability. How much does it vary in a long run, more intense workout, CrossFitters, heart rate variability. One thing that I've seen a lot of my high-level athlete colleagues do that's slowed the amount of alcohol they consume is alcohol is linked to, for about 2 days after you drink, significantly decreased heart rate variability. And there's an argument, or you could make an argument, that heart rate variability is possibly the best indicator of heart health. Now, what's heart rate variability? It's the range that your pulse can vary from how high to how low it can get in a certain range of time. But heart rate variability, and when your body functions better, you have less inflammation. So again, if you're interested in chiropractic, call the office, 779-423-2044, schedule an appointment with us. If you're a current client and you're interested in more of a nutritional toxicity or lifestyle assessment, make an appointment with Mackenzie. Now, as we conclude here, what are your action steps? What are you personally going to do moving forward and immediately to make a change for your health for the long term? There's certain jobs like, people, teachers, kids, parents with kids off school that really give a great opportunity to focus on your health this summer, make a change, get back working out, whatever it might be. Things that are coming up. We just had dinner with the doc. We have Family Week, so great charity, CASA, court-appointed. I'm blank. People who protect children in that have been abused or neglected. Advocates. So important. If you schedule if you're an active client and you schedule your children or your family members from June 13th through about 10 days, we are going to donate any first appointment fees to CASA. Help support the Rockford area and invest in not only your health, but that of the people you love the most. The other opportunity you have is if you have somebody as you watch this that absolutely needs to hear about their heart health, you love and care about them, share these videos, forward them to a friend, share it on a wall, link somebody, pay it forward. I believe so strongly what we are meant to do in this life is pay it forward. And you have an answer that can help so many people live better. Just take the action step. Lastly, as you may know, we are censored. Many of you watched this, didn't see it come across your feed because natural healthcare providers who provide alternatives, we are flat out censored. And so if you subscribe on Facebook or YouTube, you'll be notified when we release these videos. So I hope this helps. I hope you implement well. I hope you have an awesome summer. I look forward to seeing you in the clinic soon. Take an action step and have a very, very blessed day.